this role, how long has it been there? Okay. So if I tell you 10 years, how will it help? And most of the time you realize, and panelists realize, that you call 10 people for an interview, and when you give them an opportunity to ask us a question, almost 8 will ask the same question. I'm a Google. I'm under YouTube, how to answer a question in interview. Be original. Be original. How many of us have watched a movie called Pursuit of Happiness? Pursuit of Happiness. It's okay if you've never. Sio kila mtu anawachingi movie. Wengine ni series, wengine ni Zora. It's okay. But I would challenge you to look at it and see how just pushing yourself a little bit can open doors. In that movie, the main actor, Will Smith, calling himself Chris Gardner, he even rushes to an interview. He loses his shoe. He has no shirt. He struggles. He does what? And then he appears because he had spent a night in a police somewhere. But the way he's engaging the panelists and is answering the question and is being original and is giving them a reason why he has come the way he came, they end up giving him the job. They end up giving him the job. And that movie is based on a true story. But if you came and you want to copycat and look like the others, so what will make the panelists remember you? And as I conclude on that issue, I want to challenge you with one question. When you leave this campus, when you leave wherever you will live, how many people will remember you? Either for positive things you did or the negative. How many people instructing other people who had more positive contribution would make a difference? Make that positive contribution. Make a difference. Let us remember you. If I go back to every college I went, every university I went, I'm remembered. I only need to say it is Sambo. I only need to call and say it is Sambo. They say, oh, the student president, because I was once a student president. College, oh, the secretary general, because I was once a secretary general. Another university, oh, the one who went and did this presentation that won us this and this. And that alone can open doors. But when you have to call people and then explain yourself, yeah? You know the way you call somebody, and then they ask, by the way, nani nani, sorry, sina namba yako, nani nani, and then you say, si mimi ni kama, mgani, si ula LD, wapi, pale, nini. Yani you take, somebody told me, if you take 5 minutes to tell people who you are, then probably you have not done that much. Because if today, Gideon Moi came here, will he need to introduce himself and say, by the way, my name is Gideon Moi? Or you are the one who will tell him, I know you? Will he introduce himself? Will he introduce himself? No human is limited. It's called Eldoret. If he just by surprise, maybe he was just passing and then he's lost and he's looking for somewhere and then he lands here and then he say, oh sorry, there's a place I'm looking. He will need to introduce himself and tell people, by the way, my name is Eldoret Kipchoge. And I ran a marathon and I actually ran under 2 hours. The person that you have been hearing, it is me. Will he need 5 minutes to introduce himself? Why do you know him and he doesn't know you? What if it was the other way around, it is you who was meeting him? Will you need to introduce yourself? Yeah? And when you tell him I'm Gloria, will that be enough for him to know who is Gloria? He'll ask, okay, Gloria from? Okay, what do you do? Okay, what is your second name? Okay, Chemtai from where? Your time has come. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a microphone going around. Please raise your hand if you have a question so far. Anyone with a question?
She has arisen and she's about to shine. Your time has come.
It's done.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Chanyisa Marion. When we started the session, you talked about career mentorship, and you actually made me understand the difference between occupation and career. At this point, I would like to understand what is the difference between a profession and a career.
Very good. Thank you for that question. Do I answer that or I take another one?
Let's have another one.
Well, I think I can proceed. So what is a profession? A profession is a professional qualification that you are qualified, you undertook, and you are not a quack. So you are a professional. So if you tell people, I am a pilot, it means you went and studied how to fly planes, and you qualified. And you are competent in that. But that does not mean that that is what you do for a living. And she said, we do education, then you get outside there, you find somebody who is very successful, and when you ask them their background, what they did in campus and what they are doing now are two different things. So what you did was your profession. What you are doing is your career. You are carrying it. So you could be a professional lawyer, a professional doctor, but a career mechanic, or a career DJ. And there's one I know, a doctor who is a career DJ. Or a career gardener. Or a career farmer. You have never studied farming, you love farming, that is what you do for the longest, and you have progressed. Remember you said career, you have to have progression. But professionally, when you ask you for your profession, you are a CPA accountant. You're getting? So you need to build, yes, profession, and you need to build your profession, and you need to manage your career. That is the difference. Unfortunately, sometimes we build professions, and we do very badly in managing career. So you find somebody have a degree in a Bachelor of Commerce, CPA, ACCA, all those, Masters in Finance, I'm doing PhD in Finance, but I don't have a job. Then they ask, so what do you do in your day-to-day life? I'm hustling. So they were good. They built the profession. It may not have reached so far, but they are competent, they have done it. But career-wise, you are nowhere. And what will separate you in the world of work, is how good you are in managing your career. You may have done Bachelor of Education, got a job as a HR person, told God, thank you, Jehovah, for what you have given me, and started managing that career going forward. So quickly, went to college, did professional papers in human resource, quickly mastered the ropes, grew, and for the next 30 years, working in HR, to a point you become a HR director, a renowned labor expert. But where did you study in campus? Bachelor of Education in CRI. Sindio? But you've been able to manage your career, and you are very successful. So career planning is a conversation that we can have, and that's why I also said you need a mentor, you need a coach, because they'll play a critical role in helping you manage your career. And sometimes it is nothing big they're going to tell you to do. It is just as simple as telling you, punguza pombe. Ama, usiongeange sana, unakuanga na za ovyo, kata. You know, some of the things that stop us from getting too far are very small, minute, behavioral, overlooked issues. Like avaangi socks, hapendi tai, hachanuangi nywele. Kutokichanua nywele imanishi wewe you are not a professional doctor. But you know, there's somebody somewhere. Remember we talked about your brand. There's somebody somewhere who is watching you and studying you. And when that opportunity will come to promote somebody, they'll say, we like Caleb. It's good, but do you really want to entrust Caleb with that level of that job? Because that job, and then they'll start bringing good words. That job has a lot of stakeholders management, and it needs a lot of fluency and being able to do serious presentation. Though Caleb is good, I like him because he knows his job. But I'll be a bit hesitant to second Caleb for that job, because I think you can imagine him engaging our board of directors, and then people are saying, yeah, by the way, yeah. And for that alone, you miss that opportunity. And maybe you are very qualified, and very competent. And so they will not sack you. They will not sack you because they like your job. But it is the small sins that will take us to hell. Thank you.
Thank you. The Bible says, the little foxes that spoil the vine. So identify your little foxes and try to fix that, right? Yes. One more question from a student. Oh, thank you.
My name is Alex Onyango. Okay, my question is, you have said you have sat in interview panels. Now, if a person is asked, what is your salary expectation? Now, how can you maybe answer that? How can you gauge? Yes.
I think we'll go with that.
Okay, I'm told I can go ahead. The question is always obvious. What is your salary expectation? And people try to hide around words, I did my research, the organization, they really want to deny you that job. So be yourself. And by the way, don't shoot down yourself and start quoting some figures that, are, when people look at them and they ask themselves, honestly, will you be eating and coming to work? And they feel like now you'll be giving so many excuses. At the same time, don't be overambitious. My expectation, I know I don't have a job, I've been in the house, but if you give me 1 million, I'll be more than willing to take this job now. Anything out of that, I will have to think again. What are you thinking that you don't have a job? So be real, be genuine, be honest, but don't overshoot yourself, don't exaggerate yourself. Because at the end of the day, all these organizations, they have pay scales. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as we're winding up, Mr. Sam, could help ourselves too.
Thank you very much. I didn't expect that. And I've not been asked that question anywhere else, but that is very interesting. Maybe I should start also thinking about it. But without missing words, I think my first best success was getting a job at Old Mutual. And I want to tell you why it was a big thing for me. is because I didn't have a job. And I had not believed that actually a company as big as Old Mucho, with offices in so many countries. And I used to admire their green ties. It is only today that I've not come with my green tie, but I've come in an Old Mucho tie. This is an Old Mucho tie also. And I used to admire the way they do things. So one day I was just passing there and I was like, I think I want to work in such an organization. And by the way, I was just walking. And I went there and the head office in Upper Hill, and I was asked, who do you want to see? I said, I want to see the HR manager. I was asked why. And I said, I think I've been seeing some jobs, and I want to know how I can join this organization. And I used to be this guy who is tamacking and who is going nowhere, but he's in a suit and tie. Unajua wase? Ako tu na tie na suit lakini hakuna mahali anaenda. Ako tu. So they said, oh, okay. We'll call for you one person. So they tried reaching that person. She was in another meeting. Then they told me, unfortunately, she's in a meeting. Then while I was standing there, I saw some of our financial advisors walking out, carrying folders written, Old Mutual, in fact, it was in this kind of ties, branded, speaking in polished English, walking with purpose. You know, those people walk with purpose. They walk like they know what they are doing in life, yeah? Yeah, you even fear telling them, excuse me, because you look like you are going to distract their destiny. Yeah? So I just looked at him and I said, okay, I think these guys, they must be earning good money and they must be very happy. So I want to, and I quickly asked that lady, so who is this who has walked out? And she told me, no, those are called the financial advisor or agent. I said, oh, financial advisor, yes. So how do one become a financial advisor? I was told, oh, that is sales, it's work, it's sales. And the lady who was telling me that he was a guard there, and he was telling me, you know, unataka kufanya kazi ya kuuza insurance. They said, no, what is it about? She said, oh, maybe that one you have to go to branches. And so I walked from Upper Hill and I went to our branch on Kimathi Street. And the first thing that struck me was the building, Old Mutual House. Built this long, gazetted as a national monument. It was, I think, the third building in the city of Nairobi. And I said, wow, so they've been here this long. I need to be here. And I went in and I asked for a job. And I was told, come Monday for an interview. It was a Friday. I went home, did the obvious, researched. When I came on Monday, I spoke more than the panelists. And I told them more about Old Mutual than they knew. And when they told me to introduce myself, I started. And I even told them when Old Mutual was started, 1854. How many companies started that year? How many collapsed? And Old Mutual is still strong. And I've been following. And I told them, I even have, because on that Friday while I was there, I took one of their products. I asked somebody to sell to me one of their products. And I even told them, I even have one of your products. I took it the other day and I love it. And how are you going to pay for it? I'll struggle, but I want to have that. And that reminds me, that is why you need to be more attentive to the next session when my colleagues will be talking about matters money. Because that product was matters money. And I love money. How many of us don't love money? Oh, kumbe tuko kanisa moja. Yeah, and by the end of that session, I was told that we'll call you in the course of next week. And it was a Monday. I told them, that's okay. And I walked out. By the time I was at Railways Matatu station, I had received a call. Please come back. I went back and I was like, so what did I do wrong? They asked me, by the way, you said you wanted to become a financial advisor, to be selling insurance. Can you become a sales manager, to be managing financial advisor? And I told them, yes, management is my thing. In fact, I've been a leader in universities. I've been a leader where I lead people. I can coach people. I can mentor people. And they asked me the obvious, so what is mentorship? What is coaching? And I gave them good answers for that. The next week, I had a letter written, Sam Sambu, sales manager. And the journey has been very fulfilling. And I moved from sales manager to training to HR to where I am. And I hope God still loves me and he will still want to do more with me. And with that, now my biggest success is coming to speak to others who are also starting their journey. May the good Lord also see you through.
So Sam, you mean there was no connections anywhere with that, you acquiring that job?
The connection was I studied what Olmucho does. Let me tell you something. When you present yourself as the best, even if they had another person, wanasema yenyewe tulikuwa na yule na tulikuwa naona lakini huyu venye amekuja aje huyu jamaa, and you'll get it. Personal branding, networking in school, mentors, coaching, your personal research on what you want to do, going to that interview a bit early, researching about that organization, what they do, what product they have, try even consuming one of their products, so that in that interview panel, if they ask you, so what products do you know about this company, you can tell them, and you can actually tell them the benefits and the disadvantage of that product. And they will feel like, this can sit with us in a meeting with management. But when they ask you, so what products do we have? And you tell them, actually, I was about to ask you also, what products do you sell? So, I mean, you cannot be coming to look for a job as a preacher and you don't know that a church, this is a church and they're supposed to be preaching and what preaching and a church entails. So do some research. Yes.
Thank you very much. So that is it on mentorship, career mentorship. I really hope we've learned a lot. We've taken a lot of notes and that we are going out of this place being more informed about the paths that we want to take career-wise and also professionally. So thank you so much for enlightening us.
Thank you very much. And my parting shot, personal development is personal. Personal development is personal. And in all this conversation I've had, I have not discussed money because I have money person here and I know once you do what we have said in career, you'll get so much money. And the next question will be, what do I do with the money? It is easy to get money, but not all of us are blessed with the ability and capability to retain money. May God bless you and thank you.
Cash. Money is the first word that comes to mind, of course. So what I'd say financial education is, how do you get the money and what do you do with the money?
Talks about money, like talks on how to budget, how to invest and save, talks on pension planning and stuff like that.
I would say yes, I do have habits that I have put in place, structures that I've put in place to help me ensure that I have good financial health.
I started a food business that is currently doing very well. So I'd say, apart from spending money, I also just research ways to invest money.
Okay, I'm a graphic designer.
I'm getting a call, so I moved outside. I was marking a paper, and he told me, "We, kuna event hapa inafaa uMC." Nikamuuliza kuna kakitu, Akaniambia, I don't know, but we will confirm. Nikamwambia ni organization gani? Akaniambia ni Faulu na Old Mutual. Nikamwambia, that one is good. I can get something. Nikamwambia, yeah. So, nikakimbia, nikakuja mbio mbio, at least nifike nione. Kukuja, naona it is Mark. And I even didn't know him at initially, so I knew that connection of networking is good. So, Daktari, thank you. Thank you, Daktari. Networking, that's how networking. So, nikaomba ruhusa haraka nikasema, let me run. At least I do what? I come here under MC. So at least you see I've learned something. You have also learned something. So I want to see if you have learned something. If you have learned something, you can raise up your right hand. If you have learned something, your right hand, right hand, right hand, right hand. If you have understood something, left hand. Left hand. Oh, some have just learned something, but they have not understood. Okay, DJ, I want you to give me Borani Enjoy so that we can welcome the next speaker. So I want everybody to stand up. The first session has been good. Give me Borani Enjoy. Maisha mafupi ni nini?
How you invest it, how you budget it, how you put some money aside, a savings, emergency funds. You just know what you're going to do with your cash.
Money is the first word that comes to mind, of course. So what I'd say financial education is, how do you get the money and what do you do with the money?
Talks about money, like talks on how to budget, how to invest and save, talks on pension planning and stuff like that.
I would say yes, I do have habits that I have put in place, structures that I've put in place to help me ensure that I have good financial health.
I started a food business that is currently doing very well. So I'd say, apart from spending money, I also just research ways to invest money.
Okay, I'm a graphic designer. So the money I get from my hustle, I use some of it to invest in the hustle, and then some of it I save, and then some of it I use for my upkeep.
There's so much that you can do with the little money that you got.
I save and I spend. Those are the two main things. I haven't gotten a chance to really invest.
Work on just investing in my future.
I'll know better ways of actually making use of Old Mutual.
I can't say I'm the best when it comes to spending money.
And one mistake I see people doing is saying that they'll wait till they get good money so that they can start investing and they can start saving.
Every young person needs this. In the world we are moving to, you need to learn how to save, how to let your money work for you.
It was exciting to learn that I can actually narrow down to what I should have, what I must have, what I have that I don't really need to use. There are things that maybe end up wasting my money for no reason. So I think, yes, I've really learned a lot, which I look forward to apply.
For most of us young people, we tend to give up when we can't see the gain. But this is a long-term game. So how do you keep that momentum? How do you keep that mindset and start young and keep investing?
Yes, because investment is about risk, I think I'll be able to take this one. But now I have more knowledge and I'll be more cautious as I do savings and investing.
It was amazing because you got to engage, like I said, from both fronts and got to hear the perspective of students and the perspective of someone trying to, bring that kind of conversations to students. Yes.
So I am Marklin Solo. I hope many of you know me, students. To our guests, I am a student here and also an entrepreneur in the school and also around the school. So in most instances, we are always striving to be successful. And in our Kenya today, success is measured by your net worth. Net worth is all about finance. What do you have? Do you have money? Even the reason why we are here, we are struggling to study and graduate, go outside, it's all about money. So the second session is a very very important session that I want all of you to pay keen attention so that at the end of the day, you know how to manage your finances, you will know how to source your finances, you will know ways on how to go about a journey that will help you get whatever you need to succeed in life. That is all about finance. So today, on the second session, I'm going to have two correspondents. Mr. Onestis Ndegwa, who is the head of retail in Old Mutual Financial Group. These are people who are very, very versed with knowledge on whatever finance is. The second correspondent will be Mr. Henry Ongulu, who is also a head of retail at Faulu. Yeah. So may you please the two come forward. Here we are with our guests today who are going to speak to us. I will be the moderator. I will help them teach you on whatever financial education is. Pay keen attention. First of all, I'll give them time to maybe introduce themselves to you so that in the course, you know whoever is addressing you and whoever is teaching you. Don't get the knowledge without knowing the teacher. Mr.
Good afternoon. I heard that is the easiest greeting to use. So my name is Onassis Ndegwa. I work in the investment group under Old Mutual, dealing with matters investments. And I'm happy to be here. That's it from my end.
Good afternoon, everyone. You seem not be happy. Good afternoon. Thank you so much. My name is Henry Ongulu, and I deal with personal banking in Faulu Bank at the head office. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Quick one, Mwalimu. You know, in a situation, a place where we're seated this way, you know, mkiwa hapa, the students on the high, they view us very, very successful people. Yeah, and we think or we expect that for you to get where you are, you might have had a story. So before we move on, would you like telling us any successful story that you've gone through that will also help students to move, that is beneficial for the comrades?
Okay, thank you. My career started somewhere in the year 2004. And I started as an admin assistant in an Asian-owned hardware. And I graduated from there to a microfinance company, which was in one region. Later on, I moved to another microfinance company called Opportunity International. Then later on, I joined Faulu in the year 2008, 25th August. I reported in a branch called Litain at 12 minutes past 7 a.m. It was a Monday. And I've grown in...
Story of someone else, then come back to myself. So one key thing is about confidence. So about 100 years ago, there was a gentleman on TV called Charlie Chaplin. Anyone who's watched Charlie Chaplin? You know about Charlie Chaplin. So they set up a Charlie Chaplin look-alike competition. And Charlie Chaplin himself decided to participate. But he did not win. He actually finished 20th. So it means there were 19 other people who were so confident and had prepared very well and beat the person that they were trying to imitate. So confidence is very important in whatever you do. So for me, I can say back in 2006, when I went out to look for a job, I walked into an office dealing with matters, medical record in town, and my background is in actuarial science. So I decided, let me see what these people do. And had a chat with the boss. I told them I'll assist them in doing record keeping, and I was given a job. So as Sambu explained, it's that confidence. And from that day, in everything I do, I just ensure that I am confident. So if you're going for a job interview, like Sam said, be very confident and speak your mind. Do not go to imitate. Just prepare yourself very well and be very confident. And that's how you'll find yourself going up the ladder. The confident people are the ones who are being given responsibilities. They're the ones who are going up the ladder. The ones who are shying and hiding, I will not say sitting at the back, but the ones that do not want to demonstrate leadership or take up any role, then you'll not move ahead in life. So the only way to move ahead of life is those small windows of opportunity. Please take them up. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, my second question goes to Mr. Henry. Mr. Henry, we are students and a generation that is really disturbed. We are disturbed in such a way that we want to manage, we want to go to class, learn, we want to look for finance, and we also have our own social responsibilities. What is the best way that we can go about this? We manage our classes, our academic, we manage our social responsibilities, and maybe our financials. What is the best way we can go about this as students?
Okay, because I've been a student in that state where there are many competing things which could look like priorities. How do I define the word priority? I define priority as what is necessary, which if it falls, I'm called a failure. I'm judged by myself. The best judge, by the way, about you is you, because it is your life story you are writing, and it has to be a success story. So we have to agree, first of all, students, that your life story has to be a success story. Do we agree there? Do we agree there? Now, when you have these competing elements within your life as a student, the big question one would ask themselves is, who am I today, this day? The answer is, I must you. You understand? So anything coming between me and my first priority called studies must be something very important, which could easily replace those studies. And so studies will be priority. Number two, if you look at the issue around finances, finances are issues you can discuss within yourself and formulate a way through which you are able to respond to the need for finances and how to manage them. For instance, we have the government funding program under the HELP, and someone gets a HELP, for example, I don't know if I'm jumping the gun, and the first priority is not what is student. It's now something else. They want to keep something else, for example, a music system, and that effectively replaces what was supposed to be priority. You understand? So you must come up with a list of priorities within your life as a student and fund those priorities even if you still don't have the money. Allocate some money for that priority. Studies, nitapeana hii time and nitaipeana this amount, for example. Then this other thing, I'll give it this much and give it this much. So that as you tick what you are doing or what you are spending time in, You tick according to how you had earlier planned in terms of priority. Then finally, you review from time to time. How am I progressing with my most important priority? How am I doing? So that is the time when you call yourself to a small meeting and tell yourself, this score is bad. I need to tweak it this and that way. This score is good. I need to continue it. Because what is good should be continued, and what is not very good should be changed, isn't it? Okay? So that is what I want to say as of now. I will answer more questions as they come.
Thank you for the nice answer. Maybe from a comment we'll get from the later. So my second question goes to Mr. Onassis. Now, as we grow and we develop financially, we meet a lot of financial management misconception. And maybe from you, can we get some of the financial misconceptions that we go as students, and maybe on how we can manage them as we keep moving?
Okay, thank you. I think one misconception about managing your own money is that when you receive your salary, you must utilize all of it, then wait for next month's salary. I think one important thing is that that money should be split. So there is the 50-30-20 rule, and the 20, which is the 20%, is money that you're supposed to save. Then you survive on the remaining balance, and that is after taxes. So it's very important immediately you start working not to receive your salary and start consuming all of it. Just save a part of that money. And money says, save me now and I will save you later. So one misconception is that money is there for consumption, more will come next month. In recent years, we've seen that change. The onset of COVID, some institutions were closed, schools, restaurants, and those people who thought had a job the following month, they did not have a job. So when you enter the job market, discipline yourself and start saving your first salary. You'll survive with a balance. Don't say this salary is too little.
So my next question will go to Mr. Henry again. We are students and we are prone to loans, such as the HELP loan and maybe other scholarship loans. What are the best ways that we can pay off these loans before and maybe after our graduation? Because you'll find in most instances, some of us are even arrested and detained because of not paying these loans. So when we want to get from you, what are the best ways that we can clear off these loans?
Let me address HELP first, because I know there are loans that are accessible to anybody who owns a mobile phone as well. Am I talking to someone here? Yeah? Am I talking to someone? Someone who owns a mobile phone can access a loan, correct? Let me address HELP. The best way to pay off HELP is, my colleague has mentioned about discipline, very important. When you start working, the discipline of saving is the most important discipline in financial management that you will ever practice. Why? Because the most wealth that people build at age 50 was a result of the savings they made when they were young at age 20. Just study any wealthy man or woman, aged 50 or aged 40. They will tell you they started saving at a young age. So that's the most important financial decision you'll ever make. Now, dealing with the whole called help is being proactive when, as soon as you get a job, then you prioritize it and declare that I had a help, for example, of 300,000, and you ask your employer to start recovering that money month on month. if you graduate and get into business, then help payment is priority, number one. Why? Because as long as it sits between you and your comfort or your progress, it will be denying you the opportunity to save as much as possible, isn't it? Because it's money that is going to, it had been consumed earlier. So prioritize it and put the money that is required month on month to clear the help. Then let me just briefly for 30 seconds address the mobile loans, which are also very, very common around here. Unfortunately, mobile loans come in almost as impulse, because the advertisements about those mobile loans really come on your mobile, and maybe that time you were dry, you didn't have money, and you are tempted to go for them. Factors need to be considered. Do you really need it? Is a must, I have it right now? That question needs to be answered. And that question comes from your priority that I talked about earlier. Number two is, what is the interest that this mobile loan is charging me? It's very important to know that most of the mobile loans are very highly priced. And so if it is not necessary, it is not for you. If it is not necessary, it's not for me. Just tell your neighbor there, if it is not necessary, it is not meant for me. We must learn to speak to ourselves soliloquously, to soliloquize money issues, because most money decisions are not shared, unfortunately. They are individualized. So you must make a number two you. If I am Henry, I must make Henry 2, so that Henry 2 tells me, no, it is not meant for you on money matters. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm happy we are getting something from the speakers. Okay, my fourth question, back to Mr. Ndegwa. We are students. We are prone to setting goals, academic-wise, project-wise, and a lot of them. One very, very key goal is the saving goal. We always set saving goals, and sometimes we don't achieve. What are the best ways, the best strategy that we can set saving goals, and maybe on how we can work on it so that we can achieve it?
Okay. One of the ways as a student to start saving your money, there are various institutions that provide a solution for you. So going back to my response to the question that I was asked earlier, is you need to set aside 20%. So most of you are receiving funds from your parents or the people who are supporting you to go through education. So you need to set aside part of that money. And how you can do it is, you can start by setting aside with saving solutions like a money market fund. Anybody who here has heard of a money market fund? This allows you to save as little as 100 shillings. And that money earns interest daily, which is credited to your account at the end of every month. So it's important that you familiarize yourself with money market accounts, which you can do it straight from your mobile phone and start saving that 100 shillings and setting it aside. There are other competing interests, like you need to take a meal, you need to buy yourself, you need to photocopy notes. There are so many things that you need to do. You need to move from here to home or from here to your hostel. However, ensure that at least by the end of every week, if you're getting your money weekly or monthly, you're setting something aside, and that money will come and help you. And later on, I'll talk to you about how to set up a money market fund account for yourself and start saving today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So students will take a break from ask the questions, so that at least we also get questions from you, the audience. You know, a good audience, if you want to know, you are told in English literature, if you want to know a better audience, is that person who asks questions. So maybe one or two questions from you on financial education to our guests. Anyone with a question?
My question is, what's the purpose of saving with the rising inflation, and why save when you can just invest? That's my question.
Good afternoon. In some 2-3 years from now, most of us will be having sources of income, and you've talked about saving. Some people save with circles and others with banks. So I was asking, what's the difference with saving with circles and saving with banks, and which one can you encourage one to use?
Maybe you answer the two first, then we continue.
So I'll take the first question on savings. Sometimes the word savings is interchangeably used with the word investment. So saving is just for you to set aside that money from your income. Investments sometimes means taking your entire income and putting it into a project that will give you a profit. However, you'll find that the interchangeable use of the word savings and investments can confuse individuals. So what you're saying is set aside that money. However, that money should be earning a return. And that's why I talked about money market funds. Because every day that money is sitting in that account, it is earning a return. Okay? So you are setting aside the money, which is saving, and that money is earning a return for you. So ensure that you're saving. You talked about rising inflation. You don't want to find yourself out of a job and you consumed all the money saying that there is inflation, why save? And now you have nothing to fall back on. You set aside money for a rainy day, for an emergency, or for even to purchase something that you desire. Instead of going to a bank and taking a big loan and it's to buy a car, whereas you don't need that car, you can walk to work or can use a matter.
Is actually a member of that circle and has a shareholding in that circle. Okay? So saving therein means circles pay their members dividends because they had used the money they put in there to generate income, which is subdivided among members as dividend. On the other hand, banks are financial intermediaries which receive deposits from the public and harness that deposit into, create credit using that money and make money through credit creation. So the public that deposits money with the bank are customers and not members of banks or not owners, co-owners of banks. So that is why banks pay members interest either monthly, every 3 months, or every year. So I hope you get the difference. Circles lead you to a certain loan by a certain number of times of the saved amount. Banks can also have policies regarding how that money leads you to a loan to do your project. So where is it good to save between the two? Both of them have advantages which make you save. And saving in a circle does not stop you from saving in a bank. So both are okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the answers. Students, any more questions? We will have a maximum of 3, the first 3, so that we work on our time.
Okay, I only have one question. So apart from saving in circles and banks, what are other affordable and recommended investment opportunities that a student can consider?
Thank you. I just have two questions. My first question is, you stated that, for example, as students, when we take help, we can start paying the loan when we start working. Now my question is this, can't we also do, like you've suggested, the 50-30-20 rule? Can we start putting that can't we implement that, then to start investing, then from the returns, the returns can start helping us pay the help loan. And my second question is about the money market fund. Could you please help us understand what is it about? And secondly, is it if we consider to take consideration about the money market fund, if we are to pay, like for example, if we are to deposit like an annual or a monthly deposit, is it like if we stop doing that, then the entire contract is terminated? Thank you.
I have a question, but before passing a question, I want to pass my gratitude to the first speaker, because today I got a serious mentor directly directed to Mr. Ndegwa, an actuary. I'm as well an actuary. So I guess after here, I'll be happy to meet you as my serious mentor so that I go through the place I've been. Two, you talked about 50-20-30 rule, but you never expounded about the 50 and 30. You only talked about the 20 savings. Can you please expound on the 50 and the 30? Thank you.
Maybe one more last question so that we move on.
Okay, good afternoon. My question is on what are the mutual requirements of opening Chama accounts and the amount of interest one will be earning after saving?
Good afternoon. I'm Kakula, and my question is concerning the saving. Suppose I begin my saving right now, maybe without telling anyone, then, you know, anything happens in life. Then after some times, that's my saving. No one is aware of it. It's only me. Then after some times, maybe, yeah, I'm no more. Does it mean that my saving goes that way, or maybe there is a way you can find someone close to me, family member, to get that? Because it's my saving, it's not like something that should just, yeah. Thank you.
There's a red in yellow somewhere around there.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Joy, and I'm asking, because there are different companies which hold the money market fund, which specific can you recommend for one to save in for the money market fund? Yeah.
Thank you. Let now our guest respond to the questions.
Good afternoon. My name is DJ Celine 254, and I have a question on Matter savings. On Matter savings on a rainy day, what to my hustlers, like the hand to mouth, can they really save for that stormy day ahead? Because it's been a burning question to me and some of my friends and DJ Clash here, and I say, uneza save, and I believe you can't save if you're operating from hand to mouth. Kindly clear the air.
Thank you.
I'll allow, first of all, Henry to respond to the question from the back regarding requirement to open a Chama account and the interest to be earned. I think that was directed to Faulu. Then the other 5 questions, I'll combine the response and give a response to the other 5. So, Henry.
Okay, thank you. The Faulu Chama account is a very interesting account because when you come in as a registered group called Chama, Chama is a group where people come together and save together with a view to growing themselves, developing themselves. So when you open that Chama account, number 1, you will be doing the initial amount you needed for opening that account is 2,000 shillings as a Chama. Then you will be doing monthly savings, which is not determined. Assume each of you are 10, and each of you is saving 1,000. That would be how much? 10,000 per month, isn't it? Then when you reach a certain level, okay, a minimum of 3 months, you can access a loan based from that Chama, depending on your project. So what will be looked at when you are getting this financing facility is the level of consistency of that saving, and the project you want to do will be checked, and it will be a secured loan by the Chama members, or it can secure itself. So the interest rate for Faulu Chama loans depend on the analysis done, because right now we are doing risk-based lending, okay? So that is how it is structured. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Henry, for that response. So I'm seeing a lot of interest on understanding the money market funds and how they operate. So my response will be on what is it, how does it work, who is it meant for, and how do you start? So what is it? So a money market fund is a collective investment scheme. So it is set up by an investment manager who has a custodian. A custodian is a bank who's holding the money. The investment manager is making decisions on where that money will be invested. Then there are trustees who oversee what the investment manager and the custodian are doing. And then we have a regulator, which is the Capital Markets Authority. So they also keep a check on how this collective investment scheme works. So they ensure that the money that is being collected from the public is invested in a safe environment. So we have different money market funds offered by different companies, including Old Mutual. So how it works is that the money you put in is invested in bank deposits, treasury bills, and that money earns a return. And that return is computed every day. So at the end of the day, like today, we'll compute and see what is the annual interest rate. For a day like today, for the Old Mutual Money Market Fund, is 11.5%. So you bring your money, we bring our money, corporates put in money in a money market fund. That money is invested and it gets a return. So at the end of the month, you have earned interest for that particular month. The following month, we take the principal you put in plus the interest. It becomes your new opening balance. And that is what we call compound interest. It's interest on interest. So by the end of the year, every month, at the end of every month, your principal plus interest is combined, it becomes the new principal. And that's why it's a powerful way to save, because one of the things they say is maybe the 9th wonder of the world is compound interest. So it's very important to save in such arrangements. The other good thing about money market funds is that they are very liquid. So if you want your money today, you will get it the same day. Will you suffer a loss if you cancel the contract midway? No. As long as your money was in that fund, it has earned that return and it belongs to you. The amount that you save in a money market fund, the minimum amount is very low. The one for all mutual starts at 100 shillings. And you can enroll yourself without going to our office via USSD code, and you can enroll yourself via WhatsApp. So the number on how do you start is you can save the WhatsApp number for all mutual where you can just send a message and say hi. Maybe you can take down the number. I think you have some papers in front of you. 0110 945522. So for those with WhatsApp, you can use that number 0110 945522. For those without WhatsApp, you can dial from your Safaricom number *480#. *480#. You'll be able to enroll yourself. You'll be able to save your money. You can deposit money at any time. You can withdraw it at any time. However, as long as we have your money, you're earning a return. So that's just a brief on how money market funds work. And there's a gentleman at the back who asked the question about what happens if I am not there. He did not say the last part. However, I figured that it's what he meant. So when you're filling in these details, you normally give us your next of kin. And if there is no activity in your account for a period of 2 years, we normally make contact with your next of kin listed. Then we'll be able to find you. If you're not around, then we'll be able to find your family. If we are unable to do it, we normally allow the government to assist through various institutions they have in place. Our service provider, who happens also to be a student, listening very well to our session. The people living hand to mouth. So how do you save? So I'll use an example that is a teaching in the Bible during the times of the Pharaoh. So the Pharaoh had a dream, and in his dream he dreamt that there were 7 healthy cows that were eaten up by another 7 very skinny and unhealthy cows. Then he also dreamt that there were 7 healthy reeds that were eaten up by 7 skinny and unhealthy reeds. So he asked for an interpretation on the dream. And one man who was in prison called Joseph was called upon, and he came and interpreted the dream for the Pharaoh. And he told the Pharaoh that what it means is that there will be 7 years of harvest and there will be 7 years of famine. Even in our lives, there will be 7 years that are very good, and you might go through 7 years that are very difficult. And the Pharaoh asked Joseph, so how will I overcome the period of famine? Anybody knows what Joseph told the Pharaoh? Namwendangi kanisa nyi. Yeah? So he told the Pharaoh that you need to build very big granaries, and you need to store 1/5 of your harvest. What is 1/5? What do I say? What is 1/5 in percentage terms? It's 20%. So it is important to understand that hard times will come. So prepare for those hard times. And for those living hand to mouth, maybe it's they're going through their period of famine. Then when their period of abundance comes, that should be a lesson to them. That there was a period they struggled, and for them not to struggle in the period of famine, then they need to set aside 20%. So in that story, it continues. So what happened when the famine came, when the 7 years lapsed of good harvest? The other 7 years, what happened in Egypt? They had plenty of food until the neighbors came to Egypt. So it's very important to save, set aside that money, no matter how painful it is, because a period of famine will come. What will you do? Will you be the one going to Egypt, or will you be the one calling people to come to your household to feed them? So ask yourself which part you want to participate in. So that's why we recommend, please set aside a portion of your income, no matter how little. It will come to save you at a later date. Thank you.
Thank you. So without wasting time, I will maybe get back to our questions and maybe ask maybe one or two questions before we call it a day. Okay. My question will go to Mr. Henry. Or not Henry, Onassis. Okay, how can students begin financial planning? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So the money you get from help or you get from your parents, please, for now I know it's little and sometimes you run out of money. However, if you start saving now, it builds a habit. There are people who have a habit of ensuring that their money is saved. And there are other people who, when they get their salary, they consume all of it. None of us, including your lecturers here, can tell you that their salary is enough. At the end of the month, it is a struggle to balance between needs and what to set aside. So what you're doing now by saving a little bit of the money that you have is creating a habit. And once that habit is instilled in you, then you'll be able to save any amount of money that you come across. Then you'll be able also to be a very good businessman. Because once you invest your money, you've set up a business. Remember, we also went to universities. I also went to a public university like yourself. The struggles you have are struggles we had. Some of us were having some small businesses. I remember me and my friends used to sell popcorn outside the school so that you can get a little bit more money to survive on. So the discipline that you instill on yourself right now when times are difficult, it'll come to help you later on in life. So that is how you can start. Start small and be patient, and you'll see yourself growing financially and in terms of discipline. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Onassis. Okay, lastly, Mr. Henry. We are students. We might be interested in starting some maybe investments for our future plans. What are the investment drives that you can recommend for a student who is still learning, struggling, and will wish to maybe invest something for a future plan?
Just picking up from where Mr. Ndegwa has left, is the biggest motivator of a saving is a lengo, the goal. So when you are saving the little you are saving, for you to be encouraged to save it consistently, you must be looking out for something you want to achieve, correct? For example, I'm currently first degree student. I want to finance my master's education. By the time I'm closing the first degree, I should have built 30% of my fee, etc. So it encourages you. Day by day, you are talking to that master's. Day by day, you are saying, I want to build rentals. Day by day, I want to buy land. Day by day, I want to X, Y, Z. That is a motivator. So the discipline of saving and the motivator to consistently do what? And that takes you to the investment now. Okay? When you build, you have the discipline. You have a lengo. That lengo should be something that will generate. Something that will generate income. Remember, most accounts that we run, even in Faulu, they are good accounts, and we encourage people to come in for them. Like there is an account called Faulu Lenga account with very good earning interest. It is an investment account. Why? Because it earns far better than an ordinary current account. Okay? So the first place where you talk about your investment is talk about something that will not consume too much of your time because you are still a student. So you want to put in a place where there is money generated even as you are resting, as you are learning in class, there's money being generated. Put money in an investment account, and our Faulu Lengo account would be very good for you. The fixed deposit account, if you get big volumes, I don't mean millions. You can start from 20,000, 30,000, you know, and you build up. Because some of you, by privilege, by God's grace, you come across some good money and you are able to put it aside and lock it there. So that is part of an investment. Then also you can identify passive sources on income. For example, you can be a passive partner in a business which is already running and those people are trusted. You can come up with a partnership deed with those people and you run that as a passive income source. You are a student, they are doing it full time. You are only visiting 1 or 2 days to look at how they are doing. That is a passive source of income. Another thing that you can do is you can form a company as students. You can form a company. Continuing students. I have a nephew who is a member of a company that they formed when they were in year 2 of their studies. Right now, they graduated 2 years ago, and these guys are doing very well. They are manufacturing ice for deep freezing. Are you getting it? Those are very important. Another person is doing posho meal, and they recently started branding their product, the unga. You see those creative. So in the ICT side, you can offer, you can get into a company and offer ICT services right from school, and you continue that as you go into offering ICT solutions out there. So there are very many opportunities, young people, that are waiting for you. You only need to be confident enough. Our brother Ndegwa mentioned that. Confidence will earn you something, even when it comes to what you want to do. And then the knowledge. You research a bit about it, you partner with people who are already doing it, and you start off the little way, and you build up to a big thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. Okay, we are now done with the questions, and maybe a parting shot from Mr. Ndegwa.
Thank you. My parting shot in these forums is always pay now or pay later. In Kiswahili, it's interpreted differently. They say, usipoziba ukuta, usipoziba ufa. Gani inakuja ya kwanza, ukuta ama ufa? Usipoziba ufa, utajenga ukuta. So in English, I try to interpret that is pay now or pay, but payment must be done. So there is nowhere that is saying payment will not be done. So make a decision, study hard. As the payment you're making now, you'll see the fruits later. Save your money now, that will be the payment you're doing now. Then later on, you'll receive the fruits. So as you go, remember, pay now or pay later. Thank you.
Thank you. So as we wind up to my fellow students, one very, very key thing that I would love to tell you lastly is that let's keep attending such programs. You see, most of these people who are successful outside here, they are a product of such programs. In most instances, you yourself, you've tried a lot. You've tried to start up businesses, you failed. You've tried to do other things, you failed. But you're failing because you lack some necessary skills and knowledge that you'll only acquire when you attend such an event and a program. I am very sure most of you have learned, even those who are not so much. Unajua MC tukianza, alisema kuna watu wamekuja tu kwa sababu tuko na afya. But hata kama ulikuja juu ya afya, you are now going back with the afya and something. So let's keep, whenever you are called upon, kindly turn up so that at least one day, one time, you'll also be successful, and you will be successful and you'll say, one day, I never failed there because of the teachings of maybe Mr. Ndegwa, Henry, and Sam. Thank you so much, our guests. Feel most welcome again and again. We are very jovial people. We are ready for you anytime. All the best, and say journey mercies as you get back.
Thank you very much.
How you invest it, how you budget it, how you put some money aside, a savings, emergency funds. You just know what you're going to do with your cash.
Money. Money is the first word that comes to mind, of course. So what I'd say financial education is, how do you get the money and what do you do with the money?
Talks about money, like talks on how to budget.
Organization for a wonderful talk. We have really learned a lot, and we are requesting next time you also have an opportunity for such. Secondly, is that we always have some events that we as the student council, we give to our fellow comrades. So we are requesting through my fellow members in the student council that we shall write a letter to you people, and then at least during organizations like for example, when we have a VC's Cup, when we have a Freshers Night, with such events, we have a lot of people, and sometimes we can request when you come and do the branding, you also partner with us at least to support the students' partnership. Then if you have not registered as a student on the paper, please try to do so, because I've talked with the partnership that at least they offer us a certificate, which will have helped us somewhere one day, one time. So if